The family of Eddie Russell Jr. is taking the city of Peoria to court, saying he was justifiably shot and killed by police last year. And the NAACP is now supporting the family and calling for a look at police training. And I am joined now by the NAACP chapter of Peoria President Marvin Hightower. Thanks for joining. Back in September when this took place, you didn't take an initial position publicly.
Right.
Now you have. What has changed?
Well, as I announced back then, we were waiting until all the facts came out. Didn't want to make a rush to judgment, didn't want to just jump on the bandwagon. Wanted to make sure that we knew what we knew so that we can have an articulate answer and an intelligent answer. So that's why we waited so long.
At the press conference yesterday, you particularly brought up the situation of mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And you and the family, they believe that police knew that Eddie Russell Jr. had a documented history of mental health. How does that play in to this factor? What are you calling for in regards to mental health in a situation like
well,
this?
in the case of Eddie Russell Jr., they knew it. So I would have liked for them to have consulted with a mental health official that they could have maybe did something a little different. Not sure if they could or not, but if they would have had a collaboration with a mental health official, then we may have had a different outcome.
And that's one of the questions I want to have. I mean, police are going into situations. Yes. I mean, literally, they're having to assess a million different things at one time. Is it the responsibility of police officers to know about every single person's mental health situation? And in the heat of the moment, when things are happening, is it for us to expect that that is something that they could even take into consideration, given how fast-paced things can happen?
And that's a true fact. But with this particular case, in this specific case, they knew it up front. And this transpired over a couple of hours. So with that in mind, they had an opportunity to consult with someone. I think it needs to be a collaborative effort between the mental health officials and the community as well, and the law enforcement officials to know. And so they knew, so it could have been something possibly that could have transpired differently.
And the last question I want to ask you is, I read earlier a bit of a letter by the Police Benevolent Association. Mm-hmm. Part of that letter, actually, it talks about how the NAACP took a problem to the award that was to be given to those officers who responded to this. You took offense to that award, and there are some that saying that the NAACP is making this into a race issue when they believe it is not. Is that what the NAACP is doing, and then how does that conversation help this overall conversation about police trust in the community?
Well, not turning into a race issue, but simply calling to the fact that we do have juniors out here, and it's a lot of them, and so that this calls into mind training, not making this a race issue, but you have to at least point to it that, you know, across the nation, this is what's happening to us. That's what the knee is about. It's not about the flag or the anthem. It's about injustice being done to the African Americans, especially particularly young men. So we want to call attention so that this will not happen again, or at least less likely to happen again. So it's all right to look at things and assess where we are in order to move forward, so this does not happen again.
All right, Pastor Hightower, thank you so much for joining us, NAACP President of the Peoria chapter. Certainly a dialogue that will continue as this entire now lawsuit goes forward.
Yes.
Okay.